Q&A time again, and the first question today is, have you always been a stay-at-home mom?
No, I have not. Before Scott and I got married and short into our marriage, I worked as a paralegal, senior legal assistant in a law firm for about 17 years or so.
She did a lot. Paralegal, she was collections, she was billing, she was office manager. She was in charge of computers, IT. So kind of did a lot.
When you're in a small office, you do a lot of things. You wear a lot of hats.
So the second question is kind of a follow-up to that. How did she decide to come home from work and be a stay-at-home mom?
Well, actually, I didn't really decide that. I didn't wake up one day and decide that's what we should do. But it came out of Scott and I were doing a devotion. It was a couples devotion. And one of the questions it had asked was, in what area of your life do you feel like
Unsuccessful?
Yeah, that you feel unsuccessful. And at that time, I think we were about 2 months into our marriage, I think. And so I was still involved in a ministry that could have easily been a full-time ministry at our church at that time. And I was working full-time, and we had just gotten married, and we were blending as a family. And so there's a lot going on, and I felt like I was kind of juggling a lot and didn't really feel like there was any one area that I was doing well. I was doing like a little tidbit in each area. And you had said you were kind of blown away by that.
I was shocked because she always has a positive attitude and seems happy and everything, and she starts saying that she feels unsuccessful in all these areas, and I was just kind of like, wow, I would have never guessed. And so, we're talking about it, trying to think through it and try to figure it out. In my mind, I'm thinking, wow, maybe should she cut back on that ministry at church that could be a full-time ministry? Should I be cutting back on Christian adventure films, which I really felt God was calling me to, and just was kind of blown away. So we just finished off with praying about it, went to bed, and just really didn't have any answers. I was just kind of shocked. So the next morning, it was pretty wild because I remember the second I opened my eyes, I knew God was speaking to me, and I just felt like it was bringing her home from work, and I was, wow, not cut back on ministry, but what about the work? And it's kind of like, and at the same time, I've kind of run the numbers before on that, seeing what it would look like being a numbers person, and there's absolutely no way I could run the numbers and make it work for us to be on one income. So I got up, went into my prayer time, and was just praying about it again, just was really feeling good about it. Like, yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. Don't cut back on ministry, cut back on the job, the work, and trust God to provide. And so then I was kind of led to reading Proverbs 31, the Proverbs 31 woman, see what God was saying about that in there. And so I was feeling really good about it. Like, this is something I feel like God is calling us to do. So I was kind of excited for her to get up. So I went in and told her what I was feeling. And
yeah, this was back in the days when he used to make and bring me a cup of coffee to bed. I really liked that part.
Before she had a Keurig.
But yeah, I was really kind of shocked. But I think at first I was just kind of like, oh, that's cute. Like that would really happen. But it was very nice and comforting that my new husband would think that much about the situation and be that open, especially with our finances the way they were at that time, and to think that that's the answer, because
And I had no idea. I thought, you know, she seemed happy in her job and everything, kind of thought she liked having a career and everything. And I thought, you know, I had no idea. I didn't find out till later that that was her dream, to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of kids and stuff like that. I had no idea, but God did. And so that's how we ended up bringing her home to be a stay-at-home mom. And, you know, so when I did the numbers on paper, apparently God's got different math than we do, because it didn't look like we could do it, but now she has been home for over 9 years, because she's been home as long as our son Matt's been alive, and a little longer, right?
Mm-hmm. About 10 months longer.
10 months longer than he's been alive. Oh yeah, the whole pregnancy. And the interesting thing was that we thought we were bringing her home because of stress, but 2 weeks after we felt like God called us to do that, we found out that she was pregnant and going to have another child. So God knew something we didn't know, and that's a whole nother story, a whole nother Q&A right there. You'll have to stay tuned for that story.
Yeah.